Good evening, everybody. It is Robin Heron, your carnivorous grandma here. I am so excited to be here tonight on Carnivorous Grandma Speaks. I have a very special guest. I'm super excited to have him here. This is Russ from Homesick Buckeye. Welcome, Russ.
Oh, that is awesome. And who's the special guest?
That would be you.
You said you had a special guest, and then me. I'm like, oh, that's great. Who's going to be on it? Denzel Washington? I mean, he's like, I love this. I love Denzel Washington.
I love Denzel
Thank you so
Washington
much.
too, but I don't know
Yeah.
Denzel, and I know you, and I'm super
Yes, you
excited to
do.
have you here.
Oh,
Thank you
well, thank
so
you.
much for accepting my invitation.
Well, I didn't really want to, but I kind of had to because you did something for my channel. Here I am. You know that's not true.
Well, thank
I'm
you.
happy to be here with you anytime, sis. We're out here doing this work, and I appreciate you.
Yes, I appreciate you as well. I was just telling you that I spent the whole morning binge watching your story.
Oh,
Absolutely incredible. So, can you
oh,
just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit
I would
about
just say,
yourself and your story?
if you spent the day binge watching my channel, all I can say is it will get better. Just hang in there. It's not as bad as it seems. Your life will improve. Your luck will get better. If that's the best you can do is binge watch me on a Saturday. I don't know what to say. But thank you. I appreciate that. My name is Russ Mitchell. It's your man, Homesick Buckeye. For those that know me, I'm just a regular guy out here like everybody else, trying to get healthy, trying to live my best life. I'm originally from Columbus. I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, lived in Columbus, Ohio for most of my life, and now I live in Jacksonville, Florida. That's why I'm a homesick Buckeye. So yes, I live in Jacksonville, Florida, but I'm not from here. I will never be from here. I am from the O. So I have to say that many, many times because we have a Wolver rat that's hosting the channel, and so I have. To
What can I do? What can I say? Go blue. Go
oh,
blue.
oh, hey, listen. I said all the time. I agree. Go blue and take Notre Dame with you. That's what I. That's what I have to say. But yeah,
Well,
man.
I
I just.
grew up partially in Ann Arbor, so hey, I
Oh,
am a
oh,
Wolverine
come
to
on.
my heart.
I'm so sad to hear that. I wish life could have been better for you. But you went from Ann Arbor to binge
Oh,
watching my channel, man. Your life has just been rough, Robin. I don't know. I don't
oh
know.
my gosh.
For those,
Okay, so
I'm a silly
yeah,
guy. For
go ahead.
those, if people who don't know me or don't know anything about me, I'm a silly, silly person. I like to laugh. Hey, man, listen. If laughter doeth, the Bible says laughter doeth good like a medicine, right? Well, I am over
Yeah.
medicated. Okay, I am over. I have abused that prescription for all of my life. So I like to laugh. I like to have fun. I like to be silly. That's my natural state. Most of the time, I'm silly, laughing, and joking, and I get serious when I have to. I get serious, yeah. When those persnickety vegans come around, yeah, you see a whole nother side of me. I get real.
Uh-oh. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I loved it. You know, when we interviewed, you talked about being a big tent person, and I
Yeah,
thought that was a really fantastic. Can you just describe what that means and talk to us a little bit about that?
yeah. Everybody's different. Okay, I want to say that when I give my thoughts or give my feelings about things, which hey, I'm the world's foremost expert on my opinion. Okay, I know more about my opinion than anybody else in the world, and I will happily give it to you. Sometimes you don't even have to ask me, and I give it to you anyway. But I just it takes all types, but I want to have an environment. I think the community is best when everybody's in. I haven't been doing this long enough to forget how hard it is to begin, and how hard
Yes.
it is to stay, you know, with your new normal and just create a new life for yourself. And I haven't forgotten it, and it's still hard, and it's hard for a lot of people. And those are the people that I personally, in my brand of keto evangelism, want to reach. If you're a zero carb, I don't do the, I don't, I do the, listen, when I'm talking to the family, I talk about carnivore, ketovore, that stuff, because that's our lingo. That's how we talk. But when I'm talking to people who don't know anything about this, you'd be surprised how many people don't know what a carnivore is. They darn sure don't know what a keto
Mhm.
is. Okay. I talk about carb numbers because everything in our health is numbers. Our blood pressure, our weight, our glucose, our this, our that, cholesterol. It's all numbers. So I talk about the carb numbers, and that's something that means something to me, and it means something to other people. In many cases, they understand it. It's simple. And if you care about keeping your carb numbers low, you're a ketogenic person. Whether that's 0, whether that's 5, whether that's 25, whether that's 75, it makes no difference to me. The fact that you know how many carbs you're eating and you're working to minimize those and manage those, man, you are miles ahead of most people in this world. And I want you in with me. And I just don't care if you're 0 carb. God bless you. You found the answer. You're on your road to better health. I can encourage you, uplift you, maybe make you laugh, but I can't really teach you a lot. But if you're eating 500 carbs a day, that's the guy I want to talk to. That's the person I want to reach out to and say, hey, come on in here with us. Okay, you're eating 500 carbs a day. Let's get it down to 400. Let's get it down to 3.
Yeah.
Let's work on this thing. I think and we need strict people too. Again, no disrespect to anyone. I got no beefs in these YouTube streets. Okay. But a lot of folks, I say all the time, it comes easier for some people. Everything in life, some people it comes naturally to. There are people who can just throw all their carbs out of the house and just go 0 carb, and there's people who struggle. When I was a kid, there were people, and I was maybe better at math, and other people would struggle. And if somebody turned to me and I was struggling in science and said, "Oh, it's easy," I would look at them like, "Yeah, it's easy to you."
Easy for
It's
you,
like,
yeah.
but it's not easy for me. And so we have to sometimes, I think, take a step back and try to walk in people's shoes. But because, like I said, I'm still in the struggle. I still look like the before and after picture. Okay.
Mm.
So maybe, like I said, for me, it's easier to see somebody who's struggling or who can't quite get it right, and maybe view them differently than somebody maybe who's done it for a long time or who it came easy to them, and they just don't see that person the same way, if that makes sense. That was a long-winded
Yeah.
answer, and I
No, I
hope
think that's great, because the fact of the matter is we're all striving to be better every day, right?
yeah,
And so we don't want to exclude anybody who's in the category of trying to get better,
that's right, that's
so
right, that's right.
and so I loved that big tent statement, and that's who I want to be, is to be a big tent person and bring
I,
the people in, because you talk about evangelism, that's
yeah.
what evangelism is all about, right?
That's right. That's right. That's what I consider myself, a keto evangelist and idiot. Now, those are the two things. I'm a dummy and I'm a keto evangelist. And
Oh my
again, people
god.
are at all levels. I don't know anybody that has stayed at where they're at when they first came into this life. There's a ton of people that came in at 0 and have worked their way up to 15 or 20. There's people that came in at 15 or 20 and worked their way to 0. There's people who are all over the place in between, sliding back and forth on any given day. That's fine. Find your spot. People have different reasons why they came to keto life. Some people have to be at 0.
Mhm.
They can't function if they get over a certain amount. Other people don't have, those issues. They can go a little higher. But again, I want everybody in there encouraging one another, uplifting one another. I want to build a community. And, again, there's no criticism or judgment of anybody. I have lots of people who don't even do keto at all that watch my channel. They're thinking about it, or they're scared of it because their doctors told them it'll kill them, and their friends and family are telling them it's going to kill them, or whatever the case may be. But they enjoy the atmosphere, the attitude. They like to watch the show. They like to hear the stories. They like the silly things I do. They don't even do the life at all. But guess what?
Mm.
Watching. They're watching.
Right.
And one day, when they go to that doctor and he tells them they're type 2 diabetic, or one day when
Oh, no.
when they get sick and tired of being sick and tired, maybe they'll come
Right.
back and say, "Hey, man, tell me more about this. What do I do? How do I how do I get on the road?" So yeah, that's what it is. You're planting seeds. You don't know when they're going to harvest or how big the crop's going to be, but that's what's important to me.
Thank you, Russ. We appreciate everything that you're doing in the community. I mean, the
Okay.
laughter, the fun.
Mhm.
We talk
Not
about
everybody.
carnivore cookout a
Okay.
little bit.
Hey, everybody
Well,
doesn't.
people like me, we appreciate it.
I
We
had to ban
appreciate it
somebody. I had to ban
because we
somebody
be
on
so
the benefit.
serious.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
be so serious all the time when we're thinking about the lifestyle, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
nice to have a little bit of levity and just enjoy life a little bit.
But it does come with some criticism, sis. I mean, it does. I get labeled as not taking it seriously. I get labeled as
Mm,
telling people because I'm unapologetic, about the life that I've chosen, and it's my life that I've chosen, and I share it. I don't tell anybody to do anything. I tell people what I do, but that doesn't mean
right.
I'm telling you you should do it. I'm just saying, hey, here's what I do. And one of the biggest reasons I do it is because it is different than a lot of other folks out there. The way I have chosen, I mean, there's others too, the two crazy ketos and other people. There are people who are more, in my lane. But I roll with a lot of carnivores, and I consider myself a carnivore, even though many of them may not consider me a carnivore. I consider myself a carnivore. Um, and I'm a little different than them. And I think it's important for people to see the different levels of keto life, as well as see people at different stages of the path on the keto life. And so I embrace being a little different, being the odd bird. It's kind of you know my way, but it does come with some criticism. It does. There are people who
Yeah.
just don't see it my way, and they think I'm hurting people, by sharing with them unapologetically that, yeah, I had a donut yesterday. Or, yeah, I had pizza last week. Or, yes, on Thanksgiving Day, I'm not falling off the wagon. I'm jumping off the wagon. I might set the wagon on fire. I don't know what I'm going to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
There are people who
So
don't. Mhm,
can you tell us, so when I listened to your story,
mhm,
I better understood your philosophy.
mhm.
So this is the thing, your philosophy is a little different than mine, and that's fine. But can you just tell us a little bit about how does your keto work? What is your philosophy around your ketogenic diet?
Well, it's important to, before I do that, just say you have very different health concerns than I do.
Yes.
We've talked about it. You've talked about it on your channel. I don't need to go down the road, but I only had one health problem that I knew of. Okay, because I hadn't been to the doctor in forever, and even to this day that I know of, I've never spent a night in the hospital. I've never taken a medication outside of antibiotic in my entire life. I was not sick. I didn't have problems sleeping. Didn't have low energy. I didn't have brain fog or mood swings or nothing. I just was heavy. I'm not lactose intolerant. I'm not. I just got to a place where I couldn't support my weight. I couldn't stand long enough to shave. I could barely take my trash cans out to the curb. I mean, I wasn't short of breath. I couldn't exercise long. I couldn't walk far enough to get out of breath.
Mm,
I mean, I just
mhm.
literally, I joked about it. I'm like, I didn't know how much I weighed because I hadn't weighed myself in 30 years. But when I
Yeah.
weighed myself, I was in ketosis and weighed myself for the first time in 30 years and weighed 548 pounds. Had no idea. And I joke about it. So I was carrying two NFL linebackers and their dog around with me everywhere I was going. Yeah, no wonder
Mhm.
I can't make it in a driveway. Yeah, put this 300 pounds or 350 pounds on your back and you try to get your trash cans to the end of the driveway. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that was my only problem that I knew of, and knock on wood, I don't know of any other problems that I have other than that. If I had a bunch of other health problems, I may have approached it differently, but I only had one as far as I knew. And I'm sure I had fatty liver and some other things too, but I didn't know about that at that
Mhm.
time.
Right. Yep.
But when I first went into this life, I never ever envisioned that I would never eat carbohydrates again. From beginning, I just didn't think that was a practical way to approach it. I felt like I was setting myself up for failure. by setting a standard. Oh, I'm not eating any more carbs. I'm going zero carb. Are you kidding me? I don't think I'd have made it a week. And
Mm.
so I'm setting myself up for failure by doing that. And I'm a big believer in life and in a lot of things. Begin with the end in mind. Think about the end and what you want the end to be, and then start today to build that. And so from day one, I wasn't interested in doing anything that I couldn't sustain for a lifetime because I want to and plan to, and I'm going to live this way until I'm dead. So I didn't go on any crazy fasts or any crazy challenge. No, no, no. I'm just going to start getting things out of my life. And I'm very difficult for me. I'm a creature of habit, a creature of comfort, a creature of routine. I'm going to start getting things out of my life little by little until I'm down to a level where I can stay in ketosis. That was my goal, not to lose weight, not to lose 200, to get in ketosis and stay in ketosis for 90% of my life. That was my
Mm-hmm.
goal. And so I started just doing that. I started cutting out things, and I didn't know it would take as long as it did. It was a lot harder than I thought. I thought it'd be a few months, ended up being the better part of a year. But I just kept chipping away at it little by little by little until I got there. And my philosophy is more of a minimize and manage carbohydrates than eliminate carbohydrates. Because again, for me, just speaking for me, eliminating carbohydrates from my life is to dream the impossible dream. We talked about it with you and me. You
Mm.
can't outrun a donut. They're everywhere. Okay, they're in gas stations, they're in grocery stores, they got their own shops, they're in flea markets. They're you can't you can't outrun a donut. So I just said, hey, it's ridiculous for me to think I'm going to eliminate carbs from my life, and all I'm going to do is set myself up for failure if I approach it that way. Um, but if I approach it in a more practical way, and I say, you know what, this I can't do, but what can I do? And what can I sustain? And so that's my overall philosophy. It's kind of a 90-10 philosophy. 90% of the time I can eat, my normal, how I normally eat, high fat, high protein, low carb. The other 10%, 30, 40 days a year, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't worry about it because that 10% can't derail the 90. If I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing 330 days a year, that other 30 days is not going to make a difference. And again, that's just my philosophy. But I think there's a lot of people we talked about this, Robin. Most of the keto universe is not zero carb carnivore.
That's true. That's true.
It,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what percentage it is, but I would be willing to bet you it's probably 10% or less of the
Yeah.
keto community is zero carb carnivore. The other 90% of
Mm-hmm.
the keto community is somewhere from 1 to 100. So
Mm-hmm.
in my circle, I'm a little unique, but I don't think I'm that unique outside
In
of
the
that.
keto space.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
So I'm just put this up on the screen. It says everyone's different. I had to make a complete
yeah,
break with carbs. Of course, I did play with keto pre-carnivore. You do what works for you. And that is
yeah,
so just listening to your story was so enlightening for me personally because um you tend to think that most people think like you,
sure, of course.
but at least that's the way that I tend to think. And so when I listened to your story and I thought about this 90-10 philosophy and, some of the people in my life that are really like, I could never just eat meat.
Me either.
Maybe the 90-10 philosophy makes more sense, than I never even it never even occurred to me because I'm an all or nothing person.
I
That's my
get it. I get
personality.
it. Yes, yeah. You're a
So,
Band-Aid ripper.
yeah,
You're a
I
cold turkey
am.
person. I'm a hot turkey person.
Yes.
I literally think 180 degrees from you. I
Mm,
know a guy that stopped smoking, smoked a pack a day for 16 years. One day said, I ain't smoking no more. Didn't smoke. I could never. I would need a patch and the gum and another patch and more gum and a seance and a hypnotist and a witch doctor and more gum. And I could get there, but it's not going to be cold turkey. It's not going to be overnight. That for me. And here's the other part of this that's very important, I think. Okay, just again, this one man's opinion is the psychological aspect of any type of life change. I don't care if it's your diet, drugs, alcohol, smoking, whatever, anything in your anger management, anything in your life, a behavioral change, there's a psychology to it. And if you don't set yourself up to win, it takes a psychological toll on you. So if I said, hey, I need to lose weight and I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna walk a mile every day. Now I know I ain't walking a mile every day.
Right.
Okay. But I'm
Me
gonna
either.
so I get up and I don't do it. And I'm like, well,
Right.
I'll do it tomorrow. Well, eventually you're gonna get defeated and you're gonna fall off and you're gonna forget. Why? Because you set yourself up to fail from the beginning by
Mhm.
setting a goal for
Mhm.
yourself that is unreasonable or setting a mark for yourself that you can't make. Set the target up where you can hit it every time. I rigged the game so you can win. You don't have to play the game on advanced mode. Okay, you can play the game on easy mode if you're I don't know if you're a video game person. But it's
Mhm.
like you don't have to play the game on the hardest setting and get beat every time. You don't have to torture yourself that way. Set the game on easy mode. Do something you can do. Put the target right here where you can hit it every single time. Keeps you psychologically in the game, emotionally in the game. And then as you build strength, build confidence, get better, you can move the target further and further away from yourself and feel confident that you can hit it. So again, it's a psychological thing, but you have to make sure that in my opinion, that you rig the game so you can win. Don't
Mhm.
play a game that you can't win because eventually you're going to get tired of playing. So I mean that's just
Right. That's so true. I mean, I think about all of the things that, you start and don't finish.
yeah,
Um, and how depressing that is, it's a
absolutely.
downer. It's a downer
Yeah,
when you don't
yeah,
accomplish your goals. So I love
yeah,
that philosophy. It
yeah.
really enlightened me today listening to your story. So I
Well,
appreciate you
yeah,
putting
that's
that out there because
what I'm trying to do.
there's other people out here that don't think like me,
Oh,
and
it's
I'm
so
trying to figure out what's wrong with them.
well, again, yeah, right, sure, we all do that. Again, I say it all the time on my videos, don't beat yourself up, pick yourself up, you know?
Mhm.
Make progress. Progress is more important than perfection. You can't be perfect. You're not gonna be perfect, but you can always make progress. And for some people, that's the only way they can do this. And I'll say just firsthand, when I look at where I was when I started to where I'm at now, um, it's a lot different. I used to eat lettuce and tomatoes every day. Every day.
Mhm.
I haven't had lettuce or tomatoes. I mean, I've had a couple hamburgers over the last maybe 3 or 4 months, but in terms of like lettuce, tomato every day, since August. If you'd have told me in April that by August I wouldn't be eating lettuce, I'd have laughed at you. I'd be like,
Mm.
you're out of your mind. I eat it every day. you know, but over time, snacking. Man, I used to snack all the time. Now I snack a little bit. I mean, there's lots of little things that I used to do that I don't do anymore. Couldn't have told you that 3, 4, 5 months ago. I wouldn't have never
Mhm.
guessed. And I don't close the door on anything. I love all of it. Just because I don't do it doesn't mean I'm against it. It just doesn't fit my life, or like people talk about fasting. Fasting, I can't. I'm just now figuring out how to stop snacking. you
Right.
know, it's like
Right.
I can't fast. I still snack. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right, right, right.
So
So
yeah,
I
so
gotta put this up here from Adam. Hey, Adam, thank you for being
yeah,
here. Adam wants
this
to see you
guy,
trying to outrun a donut. He
yeah.
thinks that would be a
Adam,
great video.
Adam would like to see anything. He's blind in one eye and can't see out of the other. Okay, so he didn't even type that in. He spoke it out loud and just went to the computer. So a lot of people don't know that Adam can't see. Adam's blind. So there you go. Shout out to
Just
my
gonna
man.
go through a couple of these. Yeah. Hey,
Shout out to
Adam, we
my man.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Jay says he can't have cheat days.
Oh,
I
I hear
don't
you.
know if I can because I haven't had one yet.
Good for
And
you. Love that. Love that.
I'm
I
like,
don't cheat. Yeah. There's no such thing in my
No.
world. There's no such thing as cheating. I live my life. Some
Yes.
days I
Okay.
do what I normally do. Some days I don't do what I normally do. But to me, cheating, again,
Well,
that's the psychological aspect. Cheating has a negative connotation. Cheating is bad. Cheating is dishonest. Cheating is wrong. If you're cheating, you're going to be upset with yourself and mad at yourself. You're going to feel like you're doing something wrong. I don't cheat. I live my life. I have my normal life that I live 90% of the time. Then, I have my old life that I used to live 90% of the time.
mhm,
You
mhm.
know,
So I want to just have you take us back a little bit into your past and your history
Mhm.
and tell us about your journey, a little bit of because your journey, your story, you are such a great storyteller.
Oh,
Like, I couldn't believe you remembered all of that stuff, let alone got on YouTube to tell it all. But just tell us
I
a little bit about that and how you ended up landing in the keto space.
I did have to think about it when I was doing it. That's why I did it in the chapters and my dates. I got my dates all messed up because like the years, obviously if I'd have known I was going to do a channel, I may have, chronicled this a little better, but I had no idea I was going to start a channel at all. Um, but again, I started out like most people do in a life with, I had a long line of women in my family that can rattle them pans. Boy, they can rattle them pans. Um, and
Mhm.
so I grew up eating standard, Southern kind of cooking. Everything was smothered in gravy. And we had biscuits, rolls, and cornbread, okay, at our meals, man. And it was just, fried everything and, just, Kool-Aid, lots of different desserts, pies, cakes, all that stuff. We had the Clean Plate Club. They
Mhm.
pile your plate high full of potatoes and stuffing and gravy and corn and all that. You got to eat it all. And if you eat it all, then you get cake and ice cream. I mean, that
Clean
was
plate
the
club.
reward. That was right. That was the reward for eating all them carbs. And so
Yep.
my parents didn't know any better. They didn't understand. People don't even know today. So 50 years ago, yeah. And so I developed a weight problem at a young age, 8 years old, and just went through my life, as the chubby kid in school and the fat kid. I was athletic and good at sports and stuff like that, but I was always just bigger than other kids and that sort of thing. Got picked on a little bit, but I gave it right back to them. So I didn't get a lot of that, too much of that. And then when I got out of high school into adult years, everything changed because I went from being fatso and jelly belly to being big dog, big man, big guy. And it changed, and I embraced it. Man, listen, I
Mhm.
love being the big guy. I love being big dog, big man. Plus back then, since we had a lot of smooth big guys back in the day, man. We had, Heavy D and Minute Large and Gerald Levert and
Yep.
Luther Vandross and we had some big dudes that was were doing
Yeah,
it,
we
man.
did.
So
Mhm.
yeah, I loved that. I embraced that. I was a happy big dude well into my 40s. And then I had a fall and injury that laid me up
Mm.
and I really went into a spiral, gained more weight and lost some fitness and that kind of stuff. And I was like, I got to do something about this. This is kind of getting out of hand here. And I spent the next several years doing everything I thought I was supposed to do. And I put on even more weight, eating fruit and vegetables and lean meats and grains and all that stuff. And I just kept putting on more and more weight until, through a series of events, I kind of hit a rock bottom. I'd heard of Atkins in the early 2000s, didn't give
Yep.
any credence to it. I thought it was just a fad, kooky, wacko diet that was going to kill you like everybody else. So I never took it seriously, but it was the only thing that really I did see some success with. But finally, I got to a rock bottom state, and I said, I don't care. I'm going to try it. I don't even care if it kills me. I'm going to die anyway. So who cares?
Yes.
I mean, really, that's really where I was at. I'm like, I don't care. If I die of a heart attack, I die of a heart attack. I'm going to die anyway. They're going to find me here in this house one day because,
Mm.
that's just where I'm at. So to make a long story short, I got on the internet like many people did, found Dr. Barry and others, and just kind of went on, like down that road. Kind of summarizing. If people want to know the details, they can go to the channel and watch the series. It's a 10-part series called My Overweight Life. And people are interested, they can certainly do that. But I felt I should put some context to my life before I just came on and started talking about stuff, because truthfully, my channel was never intended for what it's doing. I just wanted to come on and be silly and just have like a comedy channel, kind of. That was really what I wanted. It's turned into much more than that, and I'm very happy about that, because I know I
Hmm.
can help people. People tell me all the time that I help them, which again, I'm very, very humbled by all of that. Um, but I hope I answered your question. I got a little rambling again.
So what was it but that finally, I mean, how were you drawn toward keto or ketogenic diets? Like who was the influencer that got you there?
Well, again, I had done Atkins, so I knew
Hmm.
about it. I just didn't know that it was a um, a life that you could live forever. So I was originally introduced to it by a coworker, like I said, in the late '90s, early 2000s, low carb living, and I did try it for a little bit. But again, this was 25 years ago. So you can, we catch hell now about, this. Can you imagine? We have 25 years of data now that we didn't have back in 2000. So it was
Hmm.
really crazy. People looked at you, I mean, you're trying to kill yourself. I mean, you're going to,
Yep.
stroke out. So again, I knew about it from that stand, but I never saw it as a long-term way of life. I looked at it as just a short-term, you know, gain for long term. You're trading your long term health for a little bit of weight loss.
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
So as I said, when I got to my what was my rock bottom in terms of I just don't care. I went back to that, that Atkins thing, because again, I had lost some weight doing it. I didn't do it for very long. I'd say maybe I lost 10 or 15 pounds at most doing it, because again, it's just I thought I was killing myself by doing it. So
Hmm.
I just didn't sustain with it. I never saw it as this the rest of my life. This is how I'm going to eat. Never, never. Just the opposite. I felt like every day I was killing myself a little bit by eating this way. And so after, a couple of weeks or a few weeks, I'm like, yeah, I mean, it goes against everything you've ever learned about
It
nutrition,
does.
about health, about everything. I grew up Seventh-day Adventist. So, I mean, you need your fruit, you need your grains, you need your vegetables. You can't live without these things. Um,
Hmm.
all that out the window. Again, it's hard for people. And doctors telling you, oh, you're going to kill you. Are you crazy? You're going to die doing this. Tell you, you have a death
Yeah.
wish. What do you want to have a stroke? So, yeah, there's a lot to
Hmm.
overcome for people. And so, but yeah, I originally learned about it through that way, and then circled
Yeah.
back to it, you know, um, and came across these folks as I researched it a little bit, because when I decided I was going to do it, I wanted to know, okay, what's the dirty secrets here? How bad is it going to be? I know I'm killing myself. I know I'm going to die of a stroke or a heart attack, but how long do I really have? Like how long before people really start having symptoms and problems and issues and their health declines? How long do I have? Because I was thinking, well, maybe I could do this for a little while just to lose some weight until I can get do something else. I never envisioned this as a long-term plan until I got into the YouTube spaces, started seeing the Dr. Berries, the Kelly Hogans, the people who had been doing it for a long time, the doctors that were telling patients to do it. Um, you know, then I started to think of it as, yeah, and I heard Ben Bickman talk about ketogenesis being your body's natural state, and the babies are born in
Hmm.
ketosis. And yeah, then I was like, yeah, maybe this is a way of life. This isn't what I thought it was. And then I became more confident about it. And he's really the one, Dr. Ben Bickman, when he talked about ketosis and he explained it in a way that I understood and that it wasn't dangerous, I knew that was my ticket out. I knew it. I'm like, I got to get to ketosis. It was like Wakanda.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yes.
I was
Right.
like, yeah, it's like, I got to get to ketosis, man. That's my ticket out. If I can get to ketosis, whoo, yeah, man. So um,
That's
that's
awesome.
that's really where it started for me.
That
So
is
I mean,
awesome.
just all in the
So
chat.
Dr. Ben Bickman, Yeah, this person, 24 CIF fan, says we need Dr. Hampton to show up and troll us a
No,
little.
no, no. Nobody needs Dr. Hampton anywhere. You don't
We
need it.
Oh, come on.
No, no, I'm not
We
even
have some
familiar. Who is
questions in
that?
the chat.
I don't know
Oh,
who that is. I don't know who that is.
oh, I hope he shows up. That would be cool.
Yeah,
So
I
we have a
see him.
couple
I
of
see him.
questions from our audience here. I just want to kind of bring these up before I get to my next question. Sandra McDonald wants to know how much weight have you lost? Before you answer that question, can you tell us about how long have you been on this way of eating?
I got into ketosis May the 22nd of 2023. So it's been about
Okay,
6 months since I got into
nice.
ketosis. But I was working on getting there for a long time before that. But I have a meter that I blow into, and the first day I ever blew a number was on that day, and that's also the day I weighed myself for the first time in 30 years. I only weigh myself once a month. I don't really care how much I weigh. I didn't care for 30 years, so I really don't care now. But people threaten me with bodily harm if I don't talk about it on my channel. So I don't want to have
Right.
to be looking over. I have to walk around with security and to get the keto summits if I don't talk about it. But I weighed in at 548 on May the 22nd, and I was down to 501. Had a little setback last month. I got dehydrated. Learned a lot about dehydration and ketosis, by the way. And so my last weigh-in was the 15th of November, and I was 504. So that is 44 pounds. I was 47 into 44. But I've got a weigh-in coming up here on the 15th, and I know it's going to be good. I don't know what it is, but I know it's going to be good because I feel
Nice.
different. I feel, last month when I talked about it, I did one of my walk and talk videos. I knew something was wrong because whenever I have my weigh-ins, usually a couple of weeks after my weigh-in, I feel better. I feel lighter. I feel stronger. I just know. And about halfway between my weigh-in, my November weigh-in, I didn't feel that. I didn't feel bad or
Mm,
anything. I just didn't feel lighter and stronger. My clothes weren't a little looser. And I just was like, and I was eating good. I don't think I've ever had a better month overall than October. Totally. I mean, I exercise, diet, everything. I mean, I was doing so well. And but I didn't feel, I was like 10 days before my weigh-in. I'm like, I don't feel any different than I felt the last month. I don't know what's going on here. And luckily I got some blood work drawn and saw that I was dehydrated. And then,
mhm.
um, I started hydrating up. I had to change my whole hydration routine, and I started feeling different. And I know this weigh-in's I know I'm going to be down. I don't know if it's 1 pound, 3 pounds, 12. I don't know, but I just know on the 15th, I'm going to be down because I can just tell. So, but to answer the
Nice.
question, it's 47 minus 3, so 44 pounds.
4 pounds. Congratulations.
Oh,
All
thanks.
right. Meeting Wellness Christy wants to know, where do you get your inspiration for the videos you make? Examples, cooking, etc.
The devil. I would say that. No, I'm just
Uh-uh.
kidding.
No,
No,
we
I'm just
don't.
kidding.
No,
That's
we
terrible
don't.
for the Christian. That's right. For the Christian, I can't do that. I'm just me. I don't know how to answer that question. I just, if I think it's funny, silly, or mildly informative, I do it. And that's pretty much how I live my life all the way around. If I think it's funny, I say it. If I think it's silly, I pretty much do it. If I think it can help somebody, I'm all about it. That's
Nice.
generally how I live my life overall. Not just my keto life. That's how in my personal life, same thing. I've been that way my whole life. I'm a unanimous class clown, 10 years running, you know, um, typical kid, in trouble all the time for being silly and
Mm,
cutting up in class and, just doing my thing. So, but yeah, everything I approach is silly, funny, and will it help somebody? So there you have it.
nice.
My man, Jay Hall.
Yes.
That's that
Wants to
is
know, how are you doing?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, living my best life, man. I need to give you a call, brother, see where you're at, what you're doing. I've been in the racehorse industry for many years. Since the 90s, I've owned
Mhm.
racehorses, and Justin is a
Nice.
great guy, a horse trainer, as you can see by his what do they call that, avatar or icon or his profile picture or whatever. That's him in the race bike there, driving
Nice.
that racehorse there. So I've done that for many years. Love the game. Have had a lot of success. Raced all over the continent, and it's a passion of mine. I really enjoy it. And so shout out to my horse guys there. If any of them are watching, I see my cousin Jess is in the chat too. What's up, Jess? I see you, fam. She just had her
Nice.
knee replaced. So shout out to her.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah, yeah,
Christy
yeah.
says that ketosis is like Wakanda.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah. Who else could come
I
up with that?
totally agree.
Yeah, yeah. Who else could come up with that? I want. Hey, listen. You know, what other channel besides mine would you hear ketosis is like with God? I don't
I
even
mean,
know.
that's a pretty idealistic place. It's amazing. So
Yeah,
yes, I
yeah.
love it.
I come up with that all on my
Jay
own.
wants to know, I'm glad you mentioned your Southern heritage. I'm from New York City. I mean, not New York City, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And my husband is African American. And the Southern soul food stigma
Mistake,
maybe,
maybe. Mhm.
seems very hard to overcome.
It's all hard, Jay. It's all hard to overcome. I mean, you know, and
Mhm,
again, here's the thing that as I see it, there's a lot of hurdles to get over in this life. You know, this keto life, I'm saying, life too. But you have not only your food cravings, your food addictions, if you have those things. I don't know enough about that to understand all that. I just know I like to eat that stuff. I like macaroni and cheese. I like potatoes. I like it. I like cornbread. I don't, you know, am I going to knock
mhm,
somebody in the head and take theirs from them? No. So you know, but I like it. I like eating it. But now I have knowledge and understanding of what it's doing to me and how my body works. I didn't understand that stuff a year ago. So now I
mhm,
don't want to eat those things as much. I used to want to eat it every day. I still want to eat it, but I know I can't eat it every day. I can have it here and there, but I can't have it every day or even every week or every month. So, you know, like I said, I manage, and, you know, on certain holidays or certain things, I do dibble and dabble. But I've changed my life. You know, I just don't want to eat that stuff anymore. And again, it's different for everybody, but you know, I haven't excluded it, but I've just completely minimized it and managed it. It's not how I eat most of the time. But man, I had a great time Thanksgiving Day. I had a great time Thanksgiving Day. It was wonderful. I enjoyed all the family time and enjoyed eating all the foods that my grandmas and my aunts used to make. It just brings back a lot of memories, and I don't ever want to not do that, you know? So a few times a year, yeah, I'm going to do those things. But guess what? You know, I went down, visited, stayed there a day or two, came back home, steak and eggs, you know, for breakfast, and you know, egg salad, just a little snack, and my sausages and my hot dogs and my lamb and my all the things that are my normal life. I'm back to that, you know, now. Um, and I want to also say just quickly, I made a choice to trade fast weight loss for more of a slow and sustained weight loss. And that was a conscious choice that I made. I'm happy to lose this weight the same way I gained it. I'm happy
mm,
to do that.
mhm,
Some people are not. I have discussions with
right,
people all the time. Like, I need to lose this weight tomorrow. Well, okay, I hear you, and I get it. But from my standpoint, just from my standpoint, you know, I would rather lose 50 pounds and keep it off for a lifetime than lose 250 pounds doing something I can't sustain and then gain 200 of it back. Now, either way,
right.
you lost 50 pounds, but one is torture, you know? And so for me, that's not the way I want to go about it. That's how people yo yo. That's how they go back and forth. You do some crazy thing that you can't sustain. You get down to the weight you want. Now what? You know, I talked to Todd Bachnes. If people care to go to my channel and see that interview, he lost 300 pounds twice
Mm,
in his life. he lost 300 pounds and gained it all back
Wow.
because he was doing things he couldn't sustain, and he was torturing
Mhm.
himself. I asked him, "How do you live through that? I mean, how do you?" And he said it was torturous. He's like, every day I'd wake up and I think to myself, "Is this the day I crash and burn? Is this the day I can't do it anymore?" I can't imagine that life. The life I live now, Robin, is easy. Easy peasy.
Mhm.
And I know I can sustain it for a lifetime. I know I can.
Right.
It's not even a question. And if I lose,
Mhm.
50 pounds a year for the next 5 years, or I'm good with that. Because I know I can do this for a lifetime. And
Mhm.
that's important to me than losing a bunch of weight real fast, or, out ketoing everybody. And I don't have time for that. And I encourage people, on my brand of evangelism, find something you can do and sustain, then work to build from there. If you're eating
Right.
500 carbs a day, it's crazy to think you can go to zero carb tomorrow. To me, it's crazy. Now, maybe you can. If you're a special person,
I'm
I cannot.
special.
It's sense. I mean, and that's what we do in many cases. We're telling the guy's got a donut in his hand, and we're like talking about ketosis and autophagy. I mean, the guy's got a
Right.
donut, one bagel in the other. Okay,
Mhm.
let's focus on how many carbs he's eating and find out what that number is and work to get that number down, as opposed to beating him over the head, with ketosis and autophagy. Again, because we do this every day, we don't sometimes remember how crazy we thought it was. you
Right.
know, it's
Yes.
it
Yes.
still hits me sometimes when I'm eating my steaks. I'm thinking, man, I cannot possibly be getting everything I need from this. I'm eating it. I'm doing it. I'm thinking to myself in the back of my mind, there's no way I can be getting all my vitamins and minerals. There's just no way. But of
Mhm.
course I worked my way through that and I do it. But we can't
Right.
forget how scary it was for some of us, how doubtful we were, some of us, how crazy we thought it was when we first heard it. There's other people
Right.
out there who are thinking that same
Absolutely.
thing, and we have to be
Mhm.
patient with those people. Again, just one guy's opinion.
You're absolutely right. I was at my farm today picking up food for my dogs, and the guy who works there was talking about the fact that he had been keto for a while. He lost a lot of weight on keto, but he said, "Well, we all know that this is not the healthiest way of eating, right?" And I was thinking, that's the problem,
Yes,
right?
yes,
I
yes,
said, "You need to watch my channel." First of all,
yeah.
he's like, he does watch my channel, but you
Mhm.
know, I was like, that's not actually true, though.
Yeah. I had the same
But
talk
that's
with
not
my
actually
cousin over the
true,
holiday.
though.
My cousin over the holiday, same conversation. He
Mhm.
had done keto for a little while, lost weight, felt so good, felt better,
Mhm.
and his doctor told him to stop. He's like, "You're
Oh.
gonna kill yourself. You're gonna die of a heart attack. You can't eat that way." And he got off of
Mm,
it,
mm, mm.
after a couple of months of feeling great, living his best life.
Yeah,
And I did the same
that's
thing.
so crazy.
I'm like, "Hey,
Yeah.
here's some doctors you need to look at. Here's some information. Here's some videos. Here's some channels. This is the proper
Yes.
human diet. Ketosis is your body's
Yes.
natural state. Get to ketosis, man." It's like,
That's right.
that's just what it is.
So here's a question from Jay, and I really feel like you've been answering this question for a while. It says, "How do you approach this with other African Americans? I'm 2 years carnivore and have had great results with my husband has seen, but can't seem to change his mindset."
Yes, I stay away from black people. I encourage you to do the same. Next question. No, no, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
Jesus.
I'm just kidding. I can, I can say it. Hey, listen, Jay. Whatever you do, don't ever repeat those words in public, Jay.
Right,
Don't
don't
do
say
it.
that, Jay.
I can say that, Jay. Don't say that, Jay. Listen, people have to make their own decisions. You know him. He's your husband. You have to, if you care to, and this is again just my brand of evangelism. Okay, this is just how I go about it. Not saying it's the answer for everybody. find out what the problem is. Why is he, against it? Is it a fear? Is it something his doctor's telling him? Is it something you got to try to get deeper than I just don't want to do it? Are you afraid of something? Are you nervous about something? You have concerns about something? Try to find the reason why, and then attack it from that aspect, because people have different reasons why. A lot of people, if they don't have a weight problem, um, I'll just say this, and again, I don't know your husband or know anything about him, but a lot of people think that keto living is just a weight loss program. Hey, Christina. A lot of people think that it's just a weight loss program. So if he doesn't have weight to lose, he may be thinking, well, this is just a weight loss program. And that's one of the things I try my very, very best to share with people, is that ketogenic living and ketosis and the keto life is a total health and wellness life. It's not about weight loss. It's about so much more. We know that because we're in the space. It's, infertility and dementia and diabetes, and I mean just so many things, skin conditions, and the proper human diet is helping so many people with so many medical problems. So at the end of the day, if he's not sick and tired, if he, you got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired, in many ways. So if he's a person that is in good health, or thinks he's in good health, he doesn't see any reason to do it. And again, if he has a doctor, like many, his doctor's telling him, don't do it. you know. Another quick thing I just want to add to that healthy thing: just because a person is not overweight doesn't mean they're healthy.
That's right.
No, I mean, I've got the hospitals are full of people 180 pounds with all kinds of medical issues. So fasting insulin, that's something I think we don't talk about enough. He might have an A1C of 95 and A1C of 5 and glucose of 95, but his fasting insulin is 31. He doesn't know because he doesn't check it. He's not metabolically healthy. I have friends who are not overweight, who are type 2 diabetics. I got friends who are not overweight who've been on blood pressure medication for 20 years.
Wow.
So it's not about losing weight, it's about being healthy. And that we know that elevated insulin over long periods of time will constrict your blood vessels and give you those blood pressure problems, even if you don't have the other problems. I just had my family here for 4 days. My sister-in-law was talking about her mother, who's been vegan for 40 years, just got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in her 70s.
Oh.
Couldn't believe it. I'm like, well, yeah, I can believe it. She eats nothing but carbohydrates every day. I was like, and we know that your fasting insulin can be elevated for 15 years before you get diagnosed with a pre-diabetes or a type 2 diabetes. But she hasn't been checking her fasting insulin for the last 15 years. So, I said, hey, God bless her. I don't know that she's going to start eating cows now after she's been vegan for 40 years,
Right.
but she needs to eat a lot more. She needs to start eating some eggs and some avocados and less of the grains. She needs to modify something. So
Right.
yeah, it's important to, to emphasize this is way more than just a weight loss program, because most
That's right.
people don't understand that.
Yeah, I always say that it is not a crash diet. It's not a crash diet. Although a lot of people do lose a lot of weight really fast
Mhm.
on keto and ketovore and carnivore diet. They can lose weight really fast. I'm not losing weight what I would consider to be really fast, though
Mhm.
I do have weight to lose. I mean, it's just not going off really fast. But the other health benefits that I'm seeing are so worth it.
Yeah.
Just that carnivore zen that I have is amazing. And you
Well,
talked about people, your cousin, was it your cousin that was on carnivore? I mean, on the keto and then was
yeah,
feeling
yeah,
so good and then the doctor
yeah,
told him to stop. That's
yeah.
like
That's
feeling your
crazy.
best and they tell you to stop. It's just
That's right. That's
strange.
exactly right.
Strange.
Yeah. I didn't have, I didn't have the brain fog. I don't have enough brains to fog. So, that's
Oh my
so yeah,
gosh.
I didn't have to worry
Oh.
about all that brain. When you don't have a brain, you don't have to worry about brain fog. That's just kind of how it works.
So Sandra says, I am an agoraphobic, disabled 60-year-old living with my dog and cat, and you bring me laughter. You can't buy that. That is
Well,
true. You
I
crack
don't
us
know.
up.
Well, I listen. I'm just me. I don't know what agoraphobic means, but I think it means wonderful. How about that?
Sandra, you're wonderful.
Thank
Yay.
you
Here's
so much,
another
Dave.
question.
Listen,
They want to know how old you are. Is it any of our business?
I listen, when it comes to my keto life and that kind of stuff, I have laid it all out there. I am 54 years old. I know I look good though. I know I don't look like it. Shout out to all my low carb ladies, all my keto cuties out there. Shout out to you. I know. Listen, you're thinking, what a wonderfully young looking, handsome person that is on the keto cookout with Russ. That's Adam. But anyway,
So, speaking of the keto cookout, can you tell us how that got started? We only got like 4 more minutes, but I want to hear how the keto cookout
yeah,
got started.
we're on a time limit here? What?
Oh, well,
We're just getting
no,
started.
we're not.
Oh, I got nothing better to do. Listen, my
Okay.
Buckeyes are done playing, my Bengals are, pretty much
Okay.
done.
All right.
I got all the time in the world. It's up to you. We're here
All
till
right.
people get
Okay.
tired of it. Um,
No.
I have been watching the keto space for a while, and I just thought it was dry as the Sahara Desert. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you watch people just sit around and talk about what they eat, and that's important. But you get people and a couple of people, and they just talk about they eat all the time. And I'm a lot more than what I eat. I want to, I just, to me, that wasn't interesting after a while. Especially in the carnivore space, we eat the same thing. So it's like, how many times can you? It's like, hey, I like to eat ribeye. I mean, whatever. So I wanted to do something fun. I wanted to do something different and funny. And so, I came up with the concept of the keto cookout where we have a couple of hosts. We talk about our lives. We bring on different guests every week, tell their stories. Maybe they have something to plug, a site or whatever. Nobody was doing anything like that. I'd never seen anything like
Mm-hmm.
that in the keto space whatsoever. And so I just said, hey, shout out to Adam and Alia and Damon who started it with us. And I just said, hey, this is my idea. And Adam was like, I love it. And, I'm like, whatever I do, I don't want anybody else. I want it to be different than everybody else. That's just me. That's
Mm-hmm.
me, the hard headed, silly kid that I always was. I don't want to do things like everybody else. I don't want to march in line with the rest of the soldiers. I'm different. Um, and so that's just how the thing got started. And I never get tired of hearing the inspirational stories. I never get tired of meeting different people from different walks of life. I never get tired of laughing and joking around. Um, that's who I am at my core. So, that was
Yeah.
just to build a community. We've changed it a little bit moving forward. Ollie's got some conflict. She's not going to be with us. It'll just be me and Adam for a while. And we're going to put links in the chat for people to come in and tell their stories and stuff like that with us. And to be part of the show, you come in for 10 or 15 minutes, hang out, tell your story, tell a joke, talk about your life, just anything you want. We want it to be a fun place, a social, place, a community where people can just come in and have some fun and some laughs and some entertainment. Hopefully, learn some things too. We want,
Yes.
obviously, always want to have some information. But my channel and the things that I'm affiliated with are much more leaning towards fun and laughter and entertainment. I just feel like there's so many places you can get. There's so many doctors, there's so many scientists and coaches and nutritionists. There's a lot of that stuff.
Right.
So you don't need me out there when you got Barry and Chafee. And if you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel and want to watch Hampton, you know, you know, if you, there, what do I bring to that? None of those guys can make up a song about chicken wings. Okay. So you want
Okay, let's
science?
hear it.
Whoa, chicken wings. Don't you know they're my favorite thing? Oh, chicken wings. Don't you know they're my favorite thing? Yes, they are. So can Dr. Barry do that? Can you do
Not
that?
that I'm aware of.
Yes. I
Not
mean,
that
so,
I'm aware of.
yeah, so it's like, I do what I do. If you want science and nutrition and coaches, and that's great. We need those people. God bless them. If you want to see an
Mhm.
idiot act a fool on the YouTubes, come on over to my channel. That's really that's what I'm doing over there with little bits of information.
And your story is there. That story was incredible. I loved the way you did it. I loved the 10-part series. And it's you guys need to go over to Homesick Buckeye and hear Russ's story if you haven't already. It definitely gave me some different perspective on some of the things that people are saying to me around, starting. And the fact that you took like a year to get to
Yeah,
ketosis was
that was not my
incredible. Like,
plan. That was not
that's
my plan.
persistence.
Yeah, well, listen, it was really life or death to me at that point, but I didn't plan on that. I had no idea it would take that long. I thought it would be a few months because, again, I know myself. I don't do well with big, gigantic changes. Um, the little changes are how it's best for me to sustain it, because my routines and things like that are like a gravitational pull for me. They always pull me back. My normal, you know,
Mhm.
um, that's just how I'm wired. So I knew that once I got high fat, high protein, low carb to be my normal, it would be my gravitational pull as well. So no matter if I'm eating a donut, I'm thinking about steak and eggs because that's my
Mm.
normal. I'm not thinking about another donut or another because that's not my normal. When I was eating my Thanksgiving dinner, you know, I was thinking about steak tomorrow or brisket or leg of lamb or what am I going to make when I get home. That's how my mind works because that's my normal. And that's just how my crazy mind works. I'm always drawn back to the normal. It was just like that when I was eating the wrong things. When I was eating the
Mhm.
wrong things and I would have steak and eggs, I was thinking about pizza. I was thinking about because that was my normal. And I kept
How
moving.
did you get there though? Like, what was your process like to change your normal, and how long did it take you to change
Like
it?
I said, it took me about a year, but
Mm.
I focused on one fight at a time. I made a list of everything I had I talk about I made a boxing analogy about it. Like, if you're a young fighter, you can't just fight the champion. You have to learn how to fight. You have to build your confidence, build your skill level. You got to fight some folks that you can beat and get your strength. And you got to take some shots, take some blows. And then one day you'll be good enough to take on the champion and have a legitimate chance to win because you fought the fight. You've been knocked down. You've gotten back up. You've done the work. And so I had to do that. For me, that's what I had to do. I made a list of all the things I knew I had to get rid of. I started with the things that I thought I could get rid of the easiest, and I just focused on that. So, and then when I knocked that out and felt good and confident and strong that that was no longer an issue, I went to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And over again, I thought it would take 3, maybe 4 months tops. That's what I
Mhm.
thought. But I knew it would take some time, because I know me. But it took longer than I thought. But I didn't give up. I wasn't going to give up. I was never going to give up. Because like I said, my life really depended on it in large measure. I mean, that's really the long and short of it. So I just kept at it.
Yeah.
And again, I took one step forward, two back, two forward, one back. I mean, it was a constant grind, but I was getting better and I was doing better and I was having small victories and I just kept at it. And for me,
Nice.
that's the only way I could have done it. I don't sustainably. Like I said, when I first heard of ketosis and I first understood it, I'm like, okay, I can fast and starve myself. I can be in ketosis in a couple of days. But I knew
Mm-hmm.
that was the answer. That was the answer for a couple of days. It wasn't the answer for the rest of my life.
Right.
So I couldn't approach it that way. It's like I don't want to get in ketosis and be fighting the rest of my life to stay there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I want ketosis to be the finish line. I want when I get to ketosis, I want to be done fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Diagnosed. Now I can live the rest of my life with all those battles behind me. And that's exactly how it's worked out for me. And yes, I dibble and dabble in little things and I joke about it because I don't take it, I don't internalize it, I don't dwell on it, I don't beat myself up about it. It's real life. I live my life. But my
Mm-hmm.
life is so different now than it used to be. I mean, I laugh about it
That's amazing.
sometimes. I mean, I was eating anywhere from 600 to 800 carbs a day, easy peasy, easy peasy.
Wow.
I mean,
I
yeah,
know you were talking about the fact that you drank a lot of carbs.
sure. Oh, you kidding me? I could drink
Mm-hmm.
300 carbs a day. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that was nothing. So to go from 800 carbs a day to 15. Yeah, you think I'm gonna be upset about that? You think I'm gonna beat
Amazing.
myself up about that? You're out of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
No way. And will that 15 get to 0? I don't know. I doubt it very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Not sustainably. I eat 0 carb
Yeah.
probably twice a week. I've been 0 carb
Mm-hmm.
today. Just I don't think about it really. I don't plan it. I eat what I eat. I do what I do. I've got my routines. So I just kind of do my routines now. I don't really think too much about it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, that's what normal means, right? So you don't
Yeah,
have to worry.
yes,
Don't have to
listen,
think
that
too
is
much
my
about it. It's
normal.
normal.
That is
Yeah,
my
that's
normal. My
awesome.
normal is
That is
I get
awesome.
every day I've had to change my hydration routine. I learned that.
Can you
That's the only
talk a little bit about your hydration routine? Because I'm a little bit
yeah,
curious to know what that
well, for
is.
those sure, sure, for I just drink more. It's a fancy way of saying I drink more. I'm trying to act like I'm important and that I'm smart. But basically, I um, learned that if you're dehydrated, you can't be in ketosis. That dehydration is anti-ketogenic.
Mm.
In fact, if you are dehydrated, when you eat fat and protein, your liver will actually turn it into glucose to keep your blood sugar and insulin high, so you retain water because you're already
Oh,
dehydrated.
wow.
It's a protective measure. So you can be eating all the fat and protein you want. If you're not drinking enough, you will not lose weight. If you're dehydrated, people don't lose weight. It's just what it is. So we always taught drink when you're thirsty, all that. And I do. I mean, I'm not walking around thirsty all day, but
Mhm.
naturally didn't drink enough fluids. And I found out through a blood test. But a typical day for me used to be I get up in the morning around 9 o'clock, generally, and I don't eat or drink anything. I start to get hungry between like 11 and 1, and I would eat my first meal, which is usually scrambled eggs and something. Could be ground beef, steak, eggs or ham, bacon, just scrambled eggs and something, and 2 cups of coffee. And then I wouldn't drink anything. I would snack a little bit sometimes, sometimes not. Like I'd be egg salad and little things like that. Then I'd have my second meal of the day, and I'd have a bottle of water with that second meal of the day. And then, maybe every so often in between, I'd have something, but not very often. And so I was drinking about 40 ounces of fluids a day on a normal day. And that's just not enough. Now, ironically, after talking to Dr. Hampton, because I couldn't find anybody else to talk to, uh, after talking to Dr. Hampton, this was my second round of blood work. I had done my first round of blood
Mm.
work back in July, and then I did my second round in November. In my blood work in July was great, but at the time,
Mm.
I was eating a lot of fruit and vegetable, a lot, not fruit. well, tomato, I guess. Tomato, avocado, those are fruits. I was eating lettuce and tomato every day, and guacamole, and a small amount of vegetables. And Dr. Hampton told me, he said, yeah, if you were eating lettuce and tomato every day, because I stopped in August doing that,
Mhm.
there's a lot of fluid in those vegetables, in those lettuce and tomatoes. So if you stopped eating lettuce and tomatoes, started eating more fat and protein, and didn't increase your fluid intake, yeah, that could definitely be a
Mm,
difference.
interesting.
As to why, as well as your carbs were a little higher, so you may have been retaining a little bit more water, even though they weren't super. I mean,
Mm,
when I first started, I was around 20 a day, and I've gotten it down to like between 10 and 12. But he's like at 20 carbs a day, you may have been retaining a little more water as well. So it's hard to know for sure. But he told me minimum 64 ounces. I talked to Chafee about it too. He said I should be drinking a gallon, which I'd have to triple my water intake for that. And I was like, Doc, I don't see that
wow.
happening. But he's like, well, drink as much as you can, but a gallon a day is what you should shoot for. And Hampton said really the
Wow, that's a
same
lot
thing.
of water.
I know, but Hampton said the same thing, but he thought that 64, it's different for everybody. It depends on how active you are and if you're, things like
Mhm.
that. A few variables. But he said, I think if you go to north of 64, I think you'll be okay. And, you may do some electrolytes, even though my blood didn't show that. He's like, it won't hurt you. So what I
Mhm.
did was I made a change. And what I do now is when I wake up every morning, I drink a bottle of water right away, just no matter what, every morning a bottle of water. Then I get hungry between 11 and noonish around then. I still drink my 2 cups of coffee with my first meal of the day. And then I bought myself a 42-ounce Yeti. And after
Okay.
after I drink my coffee and eat my first meal, I fill up that Yeti with something. It could be tea, water, vodka. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Not first thing in the morning.
But I fill it with something, club soda, just whatever. And then I work to get that done. So I basically, that's 42 plus 24 plus 16. So that's like 82 ounces, which basically has doubled my water and my fluid intake. And then sometimes I'll even have some later on, in the evening. But so to make a long story short, I'm drinking a lot more, and I'm getting a lot more exercise because I've worn a path in my carpet to the bathroom. I can tell you that. It's I I urinate a lot more frequently, and I do feel better. I have to say I do feel better. I do the electrolytes a couple times a week, but doubling
Mhm.
my fluid intake definitely made a difference. You know,
Hmm.
and
I
so,
noticed that I've just naturally been thirstier
yeah,
lately, and I've been drinking a lot more water. So I don't know if my body was telling me that I just needed more water, but I started drinking a bunch of water lately. I've just been
I,
thirsty.
I just choke it down. I'm not really thirsty, but I just do it. And then looking back on my life, that's something when I was young playing sports and stuff, I didn't hydrate enough. I would cramp and stuff sometimes, but I wasn't thirsty. And my coaches used to tell you, don't wait till you're thirsty to drink. If you wait till you're thirsty, it's too late, you know?
Mhm.
Um, so, you got to stay hydrated. So I kind of do that now. I'm really not thirsty. In the morning, I'm not thirsty, but I drink that water and I drink my coffee and then I drink my Yeti. And I'm not thirsty a lot of times either, but I just, I just drink. And it has made a
Yeah.
difference. Like I said, I notice a difference I just noticed a difference. So it is beneficial. So I needed it and I didn't know I need it. And so, I've never heard anybody talk about that. I've never heard that when people talk
Mm.
about hidden stalls or, things of that nature, it's always eat more fat. It's a lot of different
Yes.
things. I've never heard anybody say you might be dehydrated. Make sure you're
No,
drinking
I haven't heard that. I
because if
literally
you
have
don't
not
drink
heard
enough,
that.
you will not be
I
in
might
ketosis.
have to submit that question to Dr. Barry,
Yeah,
see what he
yeah,
has to say
yeah.
about it.
Sure,
Mhm.
sure. But yeah, you can't
Yeah.
be in ketosis if you're dehydrated, even mildly dehydrated. So
Mhm.
It's
Wow, that's interesting.
kind of very interesting. Yeah. And again, you're always taught just drink when you're thirsty, which I was doing, but it wasn't enough, for me.
Mhm.
I mean, it stands to I mean, thinking about it logically, we know that no water will kill you. I mean, you can't live without water. We know that. And
Right.
we also know
That's
there's
right.
such a thing as too much water because you can get water poisoning, whatever that way. So just thinking
Mhm.
there's such a thing as too little and there's such a thing as too much, then there has to logically be something that's right. I mean, it's like
Right.
you can't have
Mhm.
wrong without right. So there has to be a certain minimum that you need for optimal metabolic health. I mean, there just has to be. If you
Right.
don't, zero you know is deadly. So I get it.
Right. That's right.
I had to
Yeah.
step up
I'm
my
glad you
game.
figured that out, through your blood
Me
test,
too,
you know?
because I would have never listen. I had to weigh in like 5 days after my blood work came back. And like
Mhm.
I said, I gained 3 pounds, but I'm sure I really was hammering the fluids over that 5-day period. So, but if I would have weighed in and not lost any weight, I wouldn't have known what to do. I'd have been scratching my
Wow.
head because
Mhm.
I know I've been eating. Listen, I have no problem coming on the in these YouTube streets telling people what I eat to the detriment of
Right.
all the haters come out. If I'm eating wrong or off my plan or whatever, I own it. I tell the good, the
Yes.
bad, the ugly. I share everything.
Mhm.
So if I was
Yep.
doing the wrong things, I would say it. I'm like, hey, I've been kind of loosey goosey, and I don't know what this going. But I knew I was good. I had been doing so well because I wanted to go into the holiday season with some good momentum and strong. So yeah, if I would have weighed in and hadn't lost any weight after that month, and knowing that I was really good, I'd have been disappointed.
Mhm.
I mean, and I was
Yeah.
disappointed anyway. But I'd have been like, "What is going on with me?" So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm glad I found out, and that's the importance of doing your blood work. Um,
Right.
I would never have guessed that if I hadn't seen my blood work.
Mm-mm.
I'd never have guessed that.
That is so interesting. So the body is just an amazing machine, like,
Oh, it most certainly is.
so much going on there. We just don't even know exactly what's going
It
on there.
adapts
So
to
that's
us.
pretty awesome.
It adapts to us.
Mm.
It's like it
Mhm.
can take so much abuse and
Yes,
neglect. And
it
it's like
definitely
whatever
can.
you're doing, it just tries to protect itself and protect you as much as it can, but it's
Indeed.
yes, human body is amazing.
Yes, indeed. Well, I do have to wrap it up. I'm at a
Sure,
birthday party
perfect.
for my daughter.
Yeah.
My granddaughter, she turned
Yeah,
12. So I'm here
all right.
celebrating at a slumber party with my
Yeah,
daughter and
okay.
my granddaughter. So, but I have one more question for you. And
Sure.
my question is, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and how would you use it?
Oh, Lord, don't give me no superpower, I can tell you that right now. Yes, I I don't know, that's kind of an abstract question. I don't know if you could, changing people's. I guess that's Jesus. I say changing people's hearts, but that's only Jesus can do that. Um,
Yes.
I would probably say being invisible. If I could like become invisible, and I could just go around to all the golden corrals and eat all the potatoes. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'd just be the potato monster.
You would be
I'd be
invisible,
like,
yeah.
it's like, where are all these mashed potatoes at? We can't believe it.
Oh my
No, no, but
god.
yeah, if my power would be being invisible, and I would go all around the world and do good deeds, and nobody would know who is doing it. Nobody would know
Mm.
who's doing all these nice things for people all over the world. That's what that's what I would do.
That is beautiful. Well, you're already doing good deeds. You're keeping us laughing, and you're
Oh, how
also
do I
giving us some very great information. So we really appreciate you. I want
no,
to just say
no.
thank you to everyone who has been with us here tonight to talk with Russ. Russ, you are inspirational. You're an inspiration to me, and so I really do appreciate you.
Oh, that's
And thanks a lot, everybody. We hope everybody has a great night tonight, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
good.